We are going to look at dogs' paths, specifically on this NAC Finals 2018 course designed by Wendell Ewing. If you want to pause the video now, see if you can find the 3 jumps where the handler had to choose whether to take their dog around the left or take them around to the right. Okay, now we're going to look at those 3 jumps. This is a course I set up based off of that NAC course, and basically the first 7 obstacles to the double right there is pretty similar to the course they had, and then also again the ending starting at the weaves, tunnel, jump, jump, and then ending on that last jump kind of where the teeter was in the original course. So looking at that exact clip again, we are going to evaluate obstacle 2, which way to go around, and there's 2 choices over that jump, obstacle number 5, and then again this part, tunnel, teeter, jump, is not in the original course, just trying to make it a little less of a sequence. And then the last choice the handlers had to make was this jump coming out of the tunnel, which is a backside wrap, so it actually has 4 options to choose from. So just looking at these first 7 obstacles, I would tend to wrap 2, which I think leads a much nicer line to 3 and 4, and then wrap the 5 heading towards the weaves, which would lend a nicer path to 6 and 7. What other people chose was this one, which is going to the right over 2 and then getting there. But you can see that did not work for us. So it could be my handling, could be how I have it set up, but it also projects the dog over the 3rd jump, kind of the wrong direction. So here I am trying it again, rushing up there with better cues, still really wide there, and then I get a super early improper front cross to signal the backside. So here I am trying the same 7 obstacles the same way that I would tend to think I would run it there at the finals. Okay, now looking at the 3rd jump where handlers had to make a choice, I am choosing the German right there, which is the backside SERP to the blind. And another popular handling choice, keeping the dog on the same path, was where the handler would do a forced front, similar to what I just did. And then the 3rd option is to put in a front cross after the tunnel, send to the backside, and reverse wrap it, and then ending up with a blind. I think all 3 of those are pretty good. Okay, looking back at our map here, did you find the 2 ways at number 2? I do think wrapping towards the inside stanchion leads a nicer path to 3 and 4. If the handler could physically get up there to do some kind of cross between 4 and 5, wrapping towards the weave poles on number 5 is a better path from 6 to 7. And then again, coming out of the tunnel for number 13, you have 4 different choices, but I do think sending them around the backside and wrapping towards the weaves would be a better path towards the teeter. Okay, looking at the alternative path to number 2 in slow motion, she has a pretty good turn there. I blind pretty early, and yet she still goes really wide there, which then puts her straight on 3. My front cross is too early, and I get the backside. Not a good path in general. Okay, now looking in slow-mo, the path I think I would choose for my dog, which is the inside wrap of number 2. If your dog has good commitment, send, go. I start cueing the blind, much better path from 3 to 4. I'm in a little better position to get a front cross in, and a much better path from 5 to 6. Okay, same course. Let's start at obstacle number 3 with a different view. And say you can't get in that blind, so your option is rearing. Well, the problem with rears we'll see in this slow-mo here is if I have to rear number 4, then I'm on the landing side of number 5, and being on a landing side right here is difficult to cue a wrap. So she rarely back jumps, but she clearly thought I was signaling a back jump there. Whoops. In this interesting one, let's say I'm able to get in the blind, but I still want to wrap. So I set the line nicer by being a little more on the takeoff side, which does set a nicer path. So if a handler was able to get in the blind, but still for some reason liked their dog going around the inside of the wrap on number 5, I still think the line isn't as nice over the yellow jump and the double, but here at least I'm cueing a tighter turn there. It just does send the dog a little wider over this yellow jump, and I have to call a little bit harder to get over the double. All right, so from the same camera angle, I'm gonna do what I think my plan was, blind there, front cross, and then a much nicer path from the yellow jump double than going around wrapping on number 5. So again, here in slow motion, let's say the handler feels like they could get in that blind between 3 and 4, so I'm going there now, and is able to get up there for a front cross or a blind there, sending the dog around behind them, taking off. You can see there's a much nicer line from that yellow jump to the double. She's already extended and turning over that yellow jump nicely. Okay, now let's look at the 3 best options coming off the weaves. So we have the push to the backside, the German, nice, again, lines that we're looking at. This time it's a tighter turn from that yellow jump to where the teeter was, but the regular jump in this exercise. So I'm sending the tunnel, again, this is the German, so they should be coming out of the tunnel faster, more extended. Push to the backside, SERP to get around the jump, and then blind to show them where they're going next. And it should be a slicier jump over that yellow one to call to this jump, AKA the teeter in the other at the championships. Another popular option was the front cross to do the wing wrap, and that will be a little more collected coming out of the tunnel, but probably a shorter path, so it was also a pretty good option. So calling your dog for a little more collection, a reverse wrap, and again, same nice line to the jump, come to that jump. And then the other option, which was the same path as the first one I talked about, was just staying on the backside of the jump and calling your dog to the side that you're on, putting them behind you. I thought that was actually a really nice option too, but it's still the same path as that first one. I love looking at paths of my dog and trying to figure out what is best for my dog and their body. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I strongly recommend checking out YouTube 4-Legged Flicks channel and watching some of the finals runs and seeing what their dog's path is doing depending on how the handler sent them around the jump. Enjoy!